we had to pay, and we are vulnerable about it. We talk about it so that some of the mistakes that we did, you don't do. That's one point. And I'm one of those people who are passionate. If I want to stress a point, I'm passionate about it, because I don't want people to do the same mistakes that I did. I hate it. I hate it. So we thank you, and I also appreciate that I'm also one of the speakers for the day. I'm not going to be long. I'll be very short. I'll try to go straight to the point. But before I start with my presentation, I want to take you to few scriptures, and then I'll get to the presentation and link that to the scriptures, and then I will close with few scriptures again. Let's start with Jeremiah 29, start from verse 8. Jeremiah 29, starting from verse 8. And to save time, those who are very quick with their fingers, if you get it, you can read it for us. I'll tell you where to stop. Jeremiah 29, okay. It says, "For this is what the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, says." Who is saying here? The Lord our God, your heavenly Father. Eh? He says, "Don't let your prophets who are among you and your diviners deceive you. And don't listen to the dreams you elicit from them." You go and ask them, "I had this dream, and please tell me what it means and what not." So here it's not talking about every prophet, but it's talking about the false prophets. I want us to understand that. Right, because Jeremiah himself was a prophet, but he was a true prophet. Now, for they are prophesying falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them. This is the Lord's declaration. All right? Now, we also need to bring into context what they were prophesying. Those ones, they were saying, "You are going back to Jerusalem. You know, and this is what the Lord has told us." And what. And then God says to them, "No, where you are right now, build. Pray for the place where you are right now, so that if that place prospers, you also prosper." Now, in the midst of that, false prophets were telling them, "You're going to have this, you are going back," and what. So God got irritated. Now, verse 10 says, "For this is what the Lord says, when 70 years for Babylon are complete, I will attend to you and will confirm my promise." So he says, "I will," meaning 70 years was not yet over. And yet the prophets were saying, the time for captivity is over. And God says they are lying to you. So he says, "I will restore you to this place." Right? Verse 11, that we love so much. "For I know the plans I have for you." This is the Lord's declaration. "Plans for your welfare, not for disaster, and to give you a future and a hope." So he is negating or stopping his children to listen to false prophecies, because he himself have got plans about his children. I like that. So everyone that's seated here, God has a plan for you. It doesn't matter what's happening now in your life, but God has a plan. And that plan is not to give you disaster, and that plan is to give you the future that you are hoping for. That comes from the Lord. Now, if that comes from the Lord, why am I going what I'm going through now? Right? Okay, we will get to that. Let's quickly run to Daniel chapter 1. As I will be talking, then I will be bringing in these verses. So that's why I want to start by reading them. Now, in Daniel chapter 1, it says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and laid siege to it. So in other words, he took them captive. He surrounded them. They couldn't go out. Nobody could come in without his permission. And the Lord handed Jehoiakim of Judah over to him, along with some of the vessels from the house of God. Nebuchadnezzar carried them to the land of Babylon, to the house of his God, and put the vessels in the treasury of God. Next verse. The king ordered, now this is where my issue starts. The king ordered Ashpenaz, the chief of his court officials, to bring some of the Israelites from the royal family, from the nobility. Next verse. Young men. This is a youth service. He ordered that bring me young people from the royal family without any physical defect, good looking, suitable for instruction in all wisdom, knowledgeable, perceptive, and capable of serving in the king's palace. And those people, you need to teach them our language and our literature. But Ashpenaz, don't pick anyone. It was an instruction from the king, go and get young people, but not everyone. You need to get me people that are perceptive, they can understand things, that are quick to learn. You can read it in different versions. You will see the words that have been used. Let's leave the good looking. You know why I say that? Because everybody who is in the Lord is good looking. So I'm not worried about that one. It's all good looking people. So that one is a tick already. Now, here is the crux of the matter. These people, they must be suitable for instruction in all wisdom. So this must be wise people and people that are hungry for wisdom. And they must be knowledgeable. So they waste their data in gaining knowledge. They must be perceptive and capable of serving in the king's palace. I don't see tongue talking there. I don't see eloquent preacher there. But that is what the king is looking for. Now, this is what Mr. Pastor Papa was talking about when he says they were looking at the CVs. When you look at a CV, there's a criteria that you go through it. You tick. So if everybody was to give their CV to Ashpenaz, he was going to look for someone who meets the knowledgeable criteria, who's got wisdom, who is perceptive, and who's capable in serving in the king's palace. Now, things are evolving, even churches. When we were growing up at church, the treasurer was the chief intercessor without any accounting knowledge. And that is why we couldn't locate where the funds were going. Do you get my point? So it's important that you must know who is to serve in the king's palace. Don't just look at one criteria and run with it. But God has got good plans for us then. Yes. But those plans are not going to bring anything if you don't tick some of these criteria. All right? Okay, let us go to my presentation. So remember I said we will be coming back to this, and as I am doing my presentation. So today I stand here not only as a pastor, but I remember one day when I was at varsity, pastor, I was asked, and I was a brother in fire, on fire for God. And they said, brother, we want you to share in the session SCM. We used to call it SCM. I don't know what it's called these days, if it's still there. So I went there with fire. I started, it's in the campus. I started somewhere before the message was done, English was done. Yeah, before, and but then I got worried. You know why? Because I was taught English in Venda. So, and I felt so embarrassed there that one of the brother came and said, no, you cannot stop this message. We still want to hear more. Continue in Venda, I will translate to English. I tell you, that day I felt embarrassed, and I just couldn't deal. And you can imagine, how do you then continue? And so I was on fire. But English knowledge was a challenge. It was a barrier. So then, Pastor Mkwebo knows, from that day, we went and made a declaration at our church in a village. And we said, young people, we're now introducing English in our services. And you can imagine the criticisms. Yeah, they said, there is, it's all Vedas in the service, but now they're talking in English. What is this show off for? But I knew and I have experienced what they have not experienced. And I didn't want to see these ones that were coming up to finish English before the message. Next time they get an opportunity like I would get. I had my niece. She passed, she did N courses, did very well, and she applied for leadership at Sasol. She came. She needed to speak for herself. But it's all English in the interview. And she couldn't make it. Not because she's not capable, but because she couldn't express herself. Pastor Papa touched on that. So these are practical stuffs that are challenging us. I thank God she came back second round and she said to me, Uncle, last time it was English. It was nothing. But this time around, my English has improved because from that day, I got so worried. I said, I'm going to sharpen my English. So, what am I trying to get at? Please, take advantage of this knowledge that you are getting. Challenge yourself. Be true to yourself. So that you don't sit in here and it becomes religious. And you don't learn and you don't go and practice what you are listening to. Right, let's go to the next slide. Now, in life, there are different areas. When you are one human being, can you read from the screen? Okay, that's fine. When you are one human being, you've got a spiritual area. That is why you will see people who are not born again like us, and some are born again. They will have some practices. Some call it meditation, some call it talking to nature, some call it whatever, but we are not there today. But it shows that in every human being, there's a spiritual aspect. And it needs attention. And there is also health and fitness aspect. You know, when you were dancing here and you were going, I said, this guy is fit. I don't think I can still do that. See, this is health and fitness issues, right? It needs attention. You've got career or business. That's what the pastor was talking about and doctor was talking about. Each one of us here, if you are not yet employed, you've got a job. That is to look for a job. So, and when you are employed, you've got a job to impress those who employed you. So, career and business, and here is an interesting one. Life partner and intimate relationships. Every living human being. That's why those sometimes who were abused while they were still growing up or for whatever reason, they cannot find an opposite sex, they settle for the same sex. But they are trying to fill that gap. Now, and the other issue in life is money and wealth. When we were growing up, there was this, where's that? Yeah, you remind me of that lady. She was a good singer, ne? Intercessor, and she would say, Yazi, Mina, if I can get a husband, even if he's not working, but if we've got Jesus, we are fine. And remember, Jesus is the king, ne? And he's got good plans. But he requires somebody who's perceptive. In the king's palace, wisdom is required. That is why you will hear James says, he who lacks wisdom must ask. So guys, if you think you will bribe my daughters only with money, I am teaching them. You find a husband who is perceptive. Money must be the bonus. Because perceptive mind will help your husband to create wealth. Perceptive mind will help him to look after what he has made. But money without perception, without wisdom, you blow it in 6 months. So girls, I'm giving you a tip. So the other aspect is recreation and hobbies. You need to get hobbies before you get a mental crash. You need to learn to play safe. All right. And we also have, now I'm getting there, don't worry. And we also have social space, which includes family and friends. You've heard Pastor Papa saying he had to change networks. But he didn't throw away networks. He changed. Because you still need friends, you still need families. In life, whatever area of life you are getting at, you still need friends. You can change maybe the circle, but you still need friends. Those are the people who give you comfort when you are tired and they restore your strength. Now, you also need a home and environment and other things. So, those 8 aspects, God is saying, I know the plans I have for you, for your spiritual development, for your health and fitness, for your career and business, partner and intimate relationships, money, wealth. God says, my plan is to make you successful in that area. Are we right?
Amen.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, spiritual and personal development. I'll read from my notes here because I think my glasses cannot reach to some of the things written there. Yeah, but I'm glad it's close for you guys and we can work together. All right. Tell him I'm listening to the pastor. Yes, don't disturb him. Yeah, we need to know. If you've got friends, they must know when you are at church. Yeah, I mean, you know where they are. So you must also tell them that this time I will be at church. Don't disturb me. All right. Spiritual and personal development. Personal development, those 4 heads, you see that? Yeah, you need the lights. And I saw doctor's bullets there. Some had bulbs in them. You need to learn. You see the question there, it's curiosity. You see the gears there, those rounds there. You need to be able to switch. Know when to accelerate, know when to hold back, and know when to seek for information, and so forth. So, but those things, they need development. So your personal and spiritual area needs to be developed. You understand? So that is why we expect you to attend church services for your spiritual development. We expect you to buy spiritual books, to listen to messages for your spiritual development. It's important. It's not a punishment that when others badla ubushababo, we expect you to be here. And I think this is the best way you will correct? I promise you. Ask me, this is what I used to do when I was at your age. And that's why you see me, you know, I'm younger than my real age. That's the best way of chowing your youth. Yes. You stay fresh and you stay younger than your age. So, but you need to develop that area. And personal development, community and activities. But when we give you tasks at church, it's not a punishment. Because there are some who come to church, they want to rush off quickly. You will not grow. You will not grow. And when other people are growing, they are put in structures and they are put in positions, you start to become a journalist. All right, so that area, my point is, these areas need development. That is your spiritual and personal area in life. And then, next slide, you have career or business. That's where the 2 gentlemen were focusing on. And then, you have partner and intimate relationships. It's important, and in that area, you need development. One big thing that is killing our nation through divorces and everything, when someone is in love, and it's dearly in love, and he's got money, he thinks he understands what marriage is. My heart broke the other day when I was talking to a friend pastor of mine. He was telling me another lady who's very loyal at church. He says she's getting married soon. I said, oh, okay. And where's the guy from? He says, no, the guy's from another church. And I said, have you started with premarital counseling? And he said to me, the guy says, no, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. And he thinks he knows what marriage is. Marriage is not Facebook pictures. Yeah, marriage is not the wedding day when you will line up the Range Rovers and you call the best DJ in town, everybody's entertained, and you call the best decoration in town, and. That is a wedding. So when you get into relation, because there, if you are not looking for one, probably you have one, then you need to be taught how to get the right one. If you don't have one, you need to be taught how to retain when you have. So that space also needs development. Are we together? Am I still doing good? Okay. So that space needs attention. And you cannot avoid that. Like I said, people are doing all sorts of marriages these days. You know why? Because for a man, even God said it's not good. And if God says it's not good for a man to be alone, then you must understand that at some stage you will get into this. Now the question is, when you are very passionate about it, do you understand it? And don't ever think that people that are divorcing, after some have stayed for 20 years and whatnot, don't think they're stupid. Mina yazi lo wami uyathanda ukufa. And you feel like those were the first words ever that are said to you. Those that are standing in court on Monday divorcing. Somebody said you are my green grass. I can't live without you. But tomorrow they're standing in court. So, and when you get excited because you got told this thing and you feel like this guy is coming from Mars or Venus. There is no guy like him around here. People were told the same things that you were told. It's like when you are going to a furniture shop. When you get there, you don't just buy everything that is on sale. And when you are buying a dress, you don't just get everything that is on sale. You first, if it's for an occasion, you will ask for the theme. There's a criteria that you will go through, right? Now, I said to the person, the same thing with getting a partner. If you yourself don't know what you are looking for, then it's a problem. And that problem the pastor cannot solve. That problem the prophet cannot solve. I mean the true prophet. Now, and I want you to get this properly, because you yourself, when you want to get into a relationship, you need to know what you are looking for. If I'm going to a shop and I'm looking for a jacket like this, and when I get there, there are so many of them, then I go to somebody, which one is the best here? Which one is the best here? Do you hear what I'm saying? So you got to know what you are looking for. And when you found it, you will know. And when you have not yet found it, you will also know that there is so many things on sale, but I haven't got what I'm looking for yet. So I will wait. All right, so that area needs development. So we need to have a conversation that is focusing on that area. Because this assumption that listen to me and ask me, uzazela kuphi? Why is it to the matter and you say boldly, say to the pastor, I don't need premarital counseling. Do you really understand? And I don't know this guy, I haven't seen him, but my fear was for this young lady, that it's getting married into this guy who says, I don't need premarital counseling. And this guy is not a divorcee. Maybe if he was a divorcee, it would be something he would say, I went through it before. But he's not a divorcee. But he doesn't want advice. Remember what the king is looking for? Wisdom. The king is looking for someone who can comprehend things. And now you get this guy who doesn't want to comprehend things, who doesn't have wisdom, and you call this guy, it's my soul mate. So, we need to have a conversation around that. It's important. Now, the next slide. I'm nearly done. The next slide. Okay. Money and wealth. I mean, I had man. Yeah. So, we need to have a conversation around that. And the sooner the better. Because, like I told you, some of us had to pay big to gain experience and to change our way of doing things. And when you look back, the loss is so huge. You know that ignorance is expensive. Ignorance is lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge is very expensive. Lack of knowledge is very, very expensive. That when you're driving a car with that experience, you can kill the engine just because of H2O. Yeah, you can kill the whole engine that was so difficult to assemble by just lack of water. Which I talk. When you take it to the engineer guys, engineering when they put it back together, the motor is gone. But what was the cause? Water. So, lack of knowledge, it's expensive. It's very costly. So, that is why we need conversation around how to make money and to create wealth. And we also need conversation on how to deal with families. Now, some of us, we don't know our fathers, some of us, our mothers, our parents left, they died when we were still very young, and some you don't even know your father, some you don't. So those family dynamics, they need attention. Because if they are not addressed, do you know that when you get married to a person, it doesn't matter whether that person is a male or a female. They come with something which is called temperament. Temperament is their DNA and character. DNA. Angithi uyazi ukuthi bakankomo bayashaya. Uyazi ukuthi bakuphi kuphi, they are like this. So, it doesn't matter whether she speaks in tongues here or ukuthanda kangakanani, ukunika imali engakanani. You must know that you are marrying part of that thing. Do you hear what I'm saying? Now, you need to understand how to handle that nkomo maseyiqalivela. So now you go to, because izovela. If you marry from my house, you must know you are marrying me, part of me. So if you don't like my guts, the day I pop out in your marriage, you need to know how to handle me. Do you get what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter how long it took you to pray for a wife or a husband. With all those prayers and fasting, you're still getting a part of the parents. It's part of the package. You cannot pray it away. So we need a conversation around that to understand family dynamics and all those things. Ne, young people? Right. And then, health and fitness issues, I think that is the last stage. The last, and home and environment and things. Things is those polos and those Fortuners that are 13 years old, and that TV and that remote that they're growing. You need to know how to deal with those things. Because you have a decoder at home, and all of you are working, you are studying, MBA for that matter. So nobody really have time for television. But you get a call that now we've got Explorer, that you can do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you get another call that, which phone are you using? They ask you. You tell them, this is the phone that I'm using. They say, no, we have one that can give you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And before you know it, you have agreed to a contract. But the day you receive it, you realize that all those extras that they told me, I actually don't need any of them. But I've already signed a contract. So that's the part of things that we need to have a conversation around that. So now, with all these 8 areas, how do you juggle around that to be successful? Because the problem is, when you are living life without money, sometimes it incubates corruption and bribery. It takes away your integrity. Because nobody wants to live without money. And if you don't get it in a proper way, you will then learn to get it in an improper way. Because you need it. So how do we juggle around this? Because without it, it challenges the other areas of life. When you come here, like what I did, no, but we registered there at the entrance. Now the pastor is calling for offering. Yes, they are very, then you know what the problem is? The problem is not me. The problem is you don't have enough. If you had enough, you would register, and when you come in here and say, I will leave you without offering, that's when you have it. So that's the other side of life. So it's important. If you don't have it, it affects your spiritual life, it affects your family life. You avoid some family meetings. You avoid when there is somebody very close to you at home, there's a funeral at home. You arrive on Friday night when all the meetings are finalized. And you tell them, after funeral I'm going. The issue is not something else. It's you were avoiding the discussions around money because you don't have. So it is okuhlanganisa nabantu and nabafundisi and everything, you know. So then we need a balance. And when you have it and your spiritual life is so low, then it becomes your master. And then we've got another issue. Because when money becomes your master, that's a serious issue. So that is why we need to have conversation on how to balance these things, how to juggle around these things. Now, that's where sessions like this becomes important as I close. We are this year going to launch Equipping the Youth. Equipping the youth is not me coming here and bombarding with scriptures. Equipping the youth is when we have a doctor, when we have a Pastor Papa who's talking about career, when we have a Gordon who will come and talk entrepreneurship, when we have a Mama who will come and talk about deco, and we open your mind into things that will make you employable, things that will make you people who want to come and work for them. Remember that criteria that was given? Yes, equipping you, it's how do you juggle around those things. Now, what does equipping mean? It means supply with necessary items for a particular purpose. Marriage purpose, to reach your marriage goals, to reach your wealth creation goals, you need to be supplied with the necessary items. And it also means to be prepared mentally for a particular situation or task. Now, before you venture into something, you need to be prepared for it. Now, that is what we want to achieve through this. And we thank God for the people that are in our, you could hear Pastor Papa had to squash everything. It's loaded. So I was telling him during the break that we know you are loaded, but we will give you time to talk about one aspect and you deal with it thoroughly. Because we're not rushing anyway. Because this thing of coming here, rush, it's not benefiting us. And who's got a passion to become a pastor? I see it by then. Right? Okay. One of the good subjects that you need to go and learn is management. Ne? Yeah, you can even do it before you study theology. Theology, don't worry too much. We will do research for you that are ahead of you. We will teach you theology. But management, it's not easily found on the pulpit. Yeah, so you can register, whether at GS or whatever, you need to understand management principles. Because when you are a pastor, your job is not only to lay hands on people. Your job is to advise people that are about to get married, advise someone who says to you, I've got a calling in my life, advise somebody that says, I've got a divorce case. You need to advise them to get good advocates. So if you're going to tell people that everything is prayer, we're going to have a serious problem. Right? Okay, I was just passing through that. Let's open, these are the last scriptures and I'm going to sit down. Proverbs 15:22. Proverbs 15:22. And that is why we need to learn. I went to Ghana in 2019. We attended a conference. The conference starts 7 o'clock. And you go to your hotel after 9 in the evening. From 7 in the morning. You just get comfort break and lunch break. And lunch break, I think it was 30 minutes. Because those people are effective. You can see there's good management here. The 7 points, they are in a way that you eat quickly and you go back. It's a class, that conference. Now, with us here, if we got, look at it, we've got 3 speakers now this evening. And that was all beneficial. But in some cases, people will say, why so many people in one day? But if you check on the programs that you watch in one day, TV programs, they are by far than these 3 speakers here. And you don't complain. So we need to be hungry for knowledge. It's important, and when you get an opportunity, you need to use it. Now, look at this verse. It says, plans fail when there is no counsel. But with many advisors, they succeed. I didn't see prayer there. So in other words, you can pray. But if you're just praying without counsel, what we're doing here is counseling. So your plans may fail. But with many advisors, they succeed. Are we fine with this? Yes. So that's where, so sessions like these, this is where we get advice, this is where we get counseling, this is where we network. You got to know someone who can unstuck you when you are stuck on another issue. That is what counseling is about. When people come to me, and they want prayer, I ask, what about? Then they tell me, okay, this is what's happening at work, this is what's happening at work, it gives me a sense of direction in praying. I don't want just to bend tongues in prayer for something that is a personality issue. Then if it's a personality issue, we will have a personality discussion. Then and I empower you, I equip you to deal with different personalities, then we seal it with prayer. But prayer alone is not going to resolve that issue. Do you get what I'm saying? So, plans fail when there is no counsel. But with many advisors, they succeed. Okay? Let's get to the last scripture, Proverbs 11:14. Without guidance, people fall, even those who pray in tongues. Even those who stand on the pulpit and preach. With many counselors, there is deliverance. And for me, this is the best deliverance. So, without guidance, people fall. And other versions will tell you nations fail and nations fall without guidance. But with many counselors, there is deliverance. So when they were talking here, I saw the video cam is capturing. So my job is, I will go and recap. I've asked for the slides that they were presenting so that I will go through them. So the knowledge about career that he was sharing, next time when I have someone in the church who wants to see me for prayer about career, I'll take them through your slides. He was counseling me. He was telling me, Pastor, when somebody comes to you with regard to career, look at this. Look at this. This is not about you only. I'm getting counseling. So if somebody comes to me with an entrepreneur-related question, I'll go through his slides. If there is a slide that I don't understand, I will give him doctor's number. Or I will say, come tomorrow. And you know what I will do when he goes? I'm not going to pray. I will call doctor. And I will say, doctor, I have this question. Somebody was asking me about this. What's your perspective about this? Because I can pray and pray and pray and pray. If you don't open a book, prayer will not read a book for you. So the king, as I close, said, go and get these people that are aptitude and cognitively fast, so that they will come, we will teach them the Babylonian language and literature. They must learn these things, and then they will serve in the palace. And this is where the church is going, Pastor. Initially, I had a phobia about social media. So, but they pushed me. And they say, now that you are locked down, we still want to listen to you on Sunday. So the best way is for you to preach on social media. And then I had no choice. So it's important to learn these things. It's very, very important because that's where the church is going. Now, you don't operate these things without skills. You need skills to operate these things. And you need people who will understand. And the way things are going fast, you know that when you're renovating a building like this, you need people who's got civil understanding, people who's got engineering understanding. Now, if you fill your project team with pastors, without engineering background and financial acumen or understanding, I'm telling you, you are heading for disaster. And you will blame the devil for ignorance. You will just pay big for making wrong decisions. So that's where the church is going. So it's important for us to understand, because the next generation of church executives and church board, it's not going to be only based on prayer. We're looking for wisdom, people that can understand fast the changes that are happening here. Because when changes are happening faster outside any organization than what is happening inside, that organization is heading for disaster. And that is why, because EFF is moving too fast for the ANC, they have to juggle it very fast. You end up having emergency meetings and emergency meetings and emergency meetings because the environment is challenging you outside. So that's why we need lawyers from this church. We need doctors from this church. And we need politicians from this church. Because we need to understand what is happening out there. And those people will help us to understand quick what is happening and what are the counter strategies for us to thrive as the church. Advocate, I thank you. So, what I am saying is, these sessions are important. That was my message. If you forget everything I said, my message is, we need to be taught, we need to be equipped. And that's why